All right. Thank you for tuning in to, well, multiple locations. Stephen Andrew, Bolin, Proverbs Guys, official, and over on Rumble, Twitch, and a whole lot of other places all at one time. Gigi in the house. What's up, Gigi?
What happened? Why did you shut down the other show?
I'm not going to lie with you, Gigi. I'll just shoot straight with you, right? So I went live, and you and Dustin came on, and that was awesome. But then a move of nature crept up on me, and it got to a point where I realized I was going to have to abandon my keyboard for a period of time, and that would have left you and Dustin on air unsupervised, and I just couldn't make that chance. So I decided to end it abruptly and then restart afterwards. So all clear now.
Where's Achilles?
Achilles, I think, is probably, he just got a new assignment. And with his new assignment, he was giving a new tool. And I believe he's probably tinkering with and fine-tuning his new tool. My turn. Where is everybody from the other side? I thought they were going to come hang out with us.
Who, Dustin?
Yeah, Dustin and Deviant and Claude and Maud and Peter. Definitely my buddy Peter.
I text Dustin. I tried calling you and it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I changed my phone number.
Why?
Because too many weirdos had it.
Like who?
Like people who I consider to be weird.
Is that Dustin?
No, I still communicate with Dustin. So Dustin has like my email even. If you have my email, I pretty much trust you because I don't change my emails.
Are you sure?
I'm positive, yeah. And it's bit me before because like I got really close to Chuck. Like at one time, he was honestly my best friend. And then
what happened between you two?
To be honest with you, Gigi, for the life of me, I don't remember what the very first fight was about. I don't. I think it had to do with pagan feasts, maybe. And we blew up at each other, and I don't remember, Gigi. I vaguely remember the second or third fight because we've had like 4 of them.
What about what happened between you and Burr Pike?
We had a falling out because he and Stump could not get along, and they were fighting, and I had to choose which one of them could stay and which one could go. And Stump was already a host with us, and I had been friends with him a lot longer, so I was just more loyal to Stump, so I chose Stump when it became an ultimatum.
What happened between you and Stump?
I don't have any beef with Stump. As a matter of fact, I might try to go up there soon and do some soul winning with Stump there in Chicago.
Would you like to have Stump join your show?
I love Stump. He's welcome to swing by anytime.
What about Lupin? What happened between you and Lupin?
Yeah, Lupin just wanted to do his own thing. Lupin wanted to have control over what his shows looked like and what he was able to do, and I get that.
But he is the man dude.
He is the what?
The man dude.
The Manding?
Dude.
Yeah.
Man dude. He always
The
liked
man
to say
dude.
man.
I don't know. Who do you think they hate the most over there? Is it me? Is it Lupin? It used to be Stump, but I don't think it's Stump anymore.
I don't know. Oh, I thought you guys were going to have a Lions Den.
It is. Yeah, it's supposed to be. But Andrew had to call out, and Ryan's having dinner with a friend first, and I'm not sure where President Dan is. And it was already over 45 minutes late, so I just decided to lend my assistance and come start the show. And hopefully the Proverbs guys will start funneling in soon.
What about Achilles?
Achilles is one of the best people you will ever meet in your life. He is an angel. And don't you ever say anything bad about him. Not even the
Funny
fly.
guy.
Do what?
He's funny.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah, he's a funny little guy. He's just so funny. He's just a likable guy. He's funny.
Who is?
Achilles.
You get excited whenever Achilles comes on. That's cool.
He's just so funny. It's just when he talks, it's just so funny.
What I love about Achilles is how intimidated the other group is by him. Like, they really tremble when he comes in.
Oh, guess who's here?
Yeah. I don't think that's Ryan, so no cigar, Christian Pock. We have to try again later, Sparky. Got to get up a little bit earlier in the day to get me there. Right, Gigi?
But he's just so funny. He's just so funny guy.
Is he?
I remember this. He said, what he said, da, 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 da. I did it to the Batman song. It was probably 2 years ago. It was just so funny. He's just so funny. Every time he talks, he's just funny. He's just a likable little guy. Kind of like Dustin.
Who do you like the most? Who's your best friend out of all the communities? Is it Mark? No.
I don't know. I never seen type of guy who has favorites.
Ah, okay. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do then, Gigi. I'm going to share this 7-minute video with you. And by the end of it, I think it's going to answer a lot of questions that you have. Okay? All right. This is a Gen Z influencer who comes clean about pornography, the occult, and abuse. So I hope you guys let this go to your heart.
So I was born in Cuba. My mom and dad separated. We lived right next to a Santeria house, which is like a really deep, like occult, dark witchcraft home. They did a lot of like witchcraft stuff to me as a child. I started having really bad nightmares. My chest would like feel like it was just closing in. And then you're like trying to express, but you're like shaking, you can't talk, like just overwhelming fear. My mom applied for what is called a bombo, which was like a lottery ticket in Cuba. I came to America then with my mom, my new stepdad, and then my new little sister. My mom started working overnights. I would be left with my stepfather at the time. He had a lot of pornography. I was like either 6 or 7 when he started molesting me. That whole season of my life, even now when I try to think about it, is like such a blur. But I do recall just feeling like confused. Things started getting worse. So like the alcohol got worse, the like physical abuse to my mom got worse. It just got darker and darker and darker every year, to the point where then I was like, I literally physically cannot take this anymore. Like, I'd rather not be alive than be in this house. I told my mom like what was going on with my stepfather. The next day, my mom took my sister and me and we moved out. When you grow up Hispanic, you know there's a God. Like, you don't know who he is. You don't really like talk to him or like have a relationship with him, but like there's like, God is good. We went to like youth group like a few times. I had never like heard about Jesus until this point in my life. I got into a serious relationship that ended up lasting 5 years, but his family was like involved in Santeria. They would do like Ouija boards and like, I mean, everything that you can think of like occult, like they were in it. I started staying at his house because my mom kept just having different boyfriends in and out of our house. And so I can't sleep. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. I walk to the bathroom and I feel like something just like sit on me. Like I was like shaking, crying, and I just called out to Jesus in like my own, are you real? If you're real, somebody told me to like do this. I think there was like a little piece of me that was like, please be real. From that moment, like calling on Jesus, it was like inviting him in. Like the Bible says, like he knocks. Like he's not gonna force himself into your life. He knocks. We were living paycheck to paycheck. I felt the weight as the oldest sibling to provide for my family. So I started this business, and a lot of the business, like people were talking about Jesus all the time. I'm going to their like conferences and I'm listening to like their trainings. And at the end of that year, I get invited to another conference. And so I walk in, Carrie Job is on stage. I don't even know who she is. She's like talking about her testimony, and she shared about a miscarriage. It was my first time like hearing someone not just say my life sucks, this is hard, I'm crying, like this is horrible, but also like there's hope. So they did a altar call, and like I stood up and I was like shaking, and they were like, share your story. I was like, I think I just like gave my life to God. I literally went to a conference, went back to living in my family's house that was like full of alcohol, all this thing, like nothing had changed. Then I joined a Bible study. For the first time in my life, I had someone seeing into my life, speaking into my life, correcting me, but also giving me like a path to follow. And so that was the first time I opened up to anybody about struggling with porn. I opened up to her. I'm like, hey, I've been struggling with this since I was like 6 years old. She was like, I want you to lead a Bible study. I was like, did you not just hear like everything I just said to you? Like, what do you mean you want me to lead a Bible study? She's like, yeah, I think you're going to help a lot of girls that are just coming to God to know that they're not alone. So she had me attending a Bible study with her so I can get discipled, and then have a little small group of 3 girls that were like new believers, and we were reading through the Bible together. I mean, I got deep into it. Like I would not leave my room for like hours and just be reading the Bible like all day, trying to learn. She's like, well, the next step you need to do is get baptized. I got baptized, moved. I start like serving, like I'm serving every week, but during this whole time that I'm serving, I'm like super involved in church. Like I'm still battling with pornography and depression and anxiety. I just wept, and I was like, God, like, I know you want to use me in ministry. I know you have this calling on my life, but I'm struggling so bad, like with this. I need you to like help me break free from these bondages, this addiction, this depression. I got up and I like felt lighter. Like after the prayer, like I physically felt lighter. And I was like, I'm just gonna take that as a sign, like God set me free. So I downloaded TikTok and I posted my testimony. That video within a week had 1 million views. Within 2 weeks, I had 2.1 million views. I'm getting DMs, like just paragraphs of women that have never, ever talked about being molested or struggling with porn. I felt like a call to help them. The depression and anxiety never went away. Like that was something that even while God was using me in ministry, I would have dark nights where I would cry. And I think it was just processing everything with the Lord over time. It's almost like an onion. And he would just be like, all right, I'm going to deal with this part of your childhood. And then I'm going to deal with this part. There's a scripture that talks about like, my daughter, by your faith has healed you. And I felt like my faith in that moment, God took it and was like, I'm going to heal you. The trajectory of my life changed because I surrendered fully to God. Ministry, opportunities, use whatever it is for his glory. I started traveling, preaching. I try to push this message through my social media every single day that regardless of where you come from and regardless of what you've been through, I don't care how dark your story is or your past is or whatever that looks like, I think that God is a redeeming God. I'm the first Christian in my family, and I thank God for that. He is the Father I always needed.
All right, Gigi. And that is why you don't play with pornography or, excuse me, witchcraft.
You serious?
Would you agree? Yeah. The two are very powerful. They go hand in hand, and they both will destroy your life. So we're going to start showing testimonies on these Lions Dens every week because nothing irritates an atheist like a good testimony to Christ. So that was testimony number 1. If you are addicted to pornography and you are depressed and you are going through all the other motions, you can be delivered from that form of witchcraft. So hit us up and we'll tell you how to do that. Right, gangster? You're going to walk them through the 10-step process?
I guess so. What about Achilles?
I could send them and a course through Achilles. Achilles is like a modern Apostle Paul. He is spiritually a eunuch. He has no interest in falling in love whatsoever. He just wants to spend the rest of his days serving the Lord. And we got to respect that. Even though you were telling me backstage how mad it makes you. Because you said you had a friend or a cousin or something that you wanted to try to set him up with?
No.
You didn't say that?
No, my cousin's, I think, married.
Oh. Well, it wouldn't matter anyways because he doesn't he doesn't want it.
Oh, okay. What if he marries what's her name? Here's one lady he likes, like Gago. She was in the Wonder Woman movie.
Who likes her?
Achilles. What if she comes to him and asks him to marry her? Will you think he will
Would you really want to though? Like honestly?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, witchcraft. It's rich. Oh no. What about that one guy who was on your show before? MC, I think.
MC? Who are you talking about now?
I forgot. It says MC something. Amazon Music. He came on your show saying that he's into Luciferian. You called him out for it. And
I don't remember. But yeah, when I do see When I see a Satanist, I call them out.
What if you see arm raw?
I think Brett was mad at me for a while because while he was doing his show with the Satanists, he really wanted me to go on there and be a Christian voice to counter their opinions. And, I don't mind being on a regular with... Oh, man. All right, I'll tell you what. If that is my boy Stump, you wouldn't mind flashing your camera real quick. Yeah, what? I thought so. Yeah, all right. So,
What
yeah. There was a troll trying to get through the gate, but I ain't letting it happen. I'm Pentecostal, and I anointed the doorways of my dwelling, and I prayed over this place so that no Christian pack shall enter.
What about Lupin?
I don't know. I guess that's up to Dan. Hopefully Dan comes by soon and saves the day.
What about...
He's a much better host than me. Hey, how come they're not giving Dan a chance over there, Gigi? Why don't they give him a chance to, get comfortable with the position before they attack him? That part confuses me. And I know you don't have nothing to do with it. I know you're friends with them, so maybe you could ask them.
I don't know. He's sick.
Do they just not like Dan?
I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think of that guy Bubblegum?
You know what? When I first met Bubblegum, I could not stand him. He used to drive me so crazy because that first time we had a debate, it took him like 45 minutes. Kim, you'll have to flash your camera so we can see you if you want to join. Wow, I didn't get to see you, so. All right, well, no thank you. Probably just our regulars tonight. Yeah. Where were we, gangster? That's all right.
What do you think of? But yeah, Bubblegum. He's a funny, crazy guy.
Bubblegum.
Yeah.
He's grown on me now, man. And at least he defends Christianity sometimes, even though he's a polytheist. Out of all the people on that side, he defends Christianity more than some of the quote-unquote Christians.
He believes that all life is created separate.
Mm-hmm.
Even though all the dogs are created separate from each other.
What do you mean all of them were created separate? Like each species of dog they think is different than another? Created separately?
Yeah, they didn't come from each other.
Well, some of it we've observed through man's manipulation we have done. Like with dogs, especially in horses. I mean, that's observable. So that makes it science. That's what separates real science from garbage science, is if you can observe it. It's when you add on millions of years or even hundreds of thousands of years that you'll never be able to prove that you can't have observed. That makes it a fake pseudoscience.
Yeah, it's crazy. He believes they're all separate, created. Yeah, it's crazy.
The things I do for you.
All right. How's it going?
Hi, how's it going? I had to whip my phone out because I don't have a webcam.
Oh, sorry.
I appreciate it. I got Christian Pike trying to sneak his way on, so I just suspected that everybody is Christian Pike. I suspect that this Doug McBugs is Christian Pike.
Who is this?
Anybody
Christian
know
Pike
Doug
guy?
McBugs?
How will you know you're not still Christian Pike with a beard on?
I mean, I don't know. Doug, could you maybe flash your camera for us backstage, bud? Can we see your face?
Well, yeah. Why
Come on, show us a smile.
You,
no,
Steven? That's kind of weird, man.
Well, what's up, Kim? How's it going,
what's
man?
Up?
I think we have talked before, and
we have. I have been on
haven't
your before. What's that?
Yeah, you believe and hold to evolution, correct?
Sure, but that's actually not what I came to talk to you about today.
Oh, okay. What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to just quickly give a countering voice to the video that you just presented.
Okay.
And I wanted to maybe front that one young lady's negative experience at the hands of a bad individual who happened to be a practitioner of a foreign religion should not be taken as an accurate description or representation of that religion and its history and its beliefs and practices. That's the one thing I wanted to say, is that, especially being Hispanic myself and understanding the very bad relationship that a lot of Hispanic people have with the church and its history, and how it very aggressively stamped out native faiths and religion in South America and in the Caribbean. Maybe this is not something that you might want to be showing to your audience, because I think it's
Oh no,
it's a little
I absolutely
and
do.
It's very irresponsible.
I'm not really worried about whether or not I'm disrespecting somebody. I do want to warn them that imminent judgment is coming, and no other religion can save them except that of Jesus Christ. So by exposing some of the demonic elements of these other religions, whether these acts represent the religions as their whole or just wonderful testimonies of how Jesus has saved people from various religions in these demonic times, I'm going to give these people's testimony a platform. Because if they have
It's really
not
funny
Jesus,
that
they have not nothing.
you say this, considering that Santeria is a syncretism of native Afro-Caribbean faiths and Christianity. These people would claim the same tradition that you do.
Well, you just said it's a mixture, so it's polluted.
It's a syncretism, meaning the two
mixture.
faiths have meshed successfully together. And
Well,
so they
can't
claim
do
the
that.
same religious tradition that you do.
I mean, the Christian church claims the same thing. They claim they've been able to incorporate paganism into Christianity, and they just whitewash pagan holidays with Christian names. They did it with
I've
Christmas.
never heard a
they
Christian
did it with
church
Easter.
say that.
Well, it's
What
absolutely
churches
like
are you
history.
going to?
I'm Baptist-Costal on my mother's side, so Pentecostal and
Okay.
Baptist. And then on my dad's side, I'm Hebrew. So I have multiple aspects of the faith I'm coming at this week.
I've never heard. What I mean to say is I've never heard a Christian professing institution admit that their holidays are actually pagan in origin. I know
Dude,
that that's a
not only
talking
are they
point that you
pagan-
hear sometimes on the atheist side.
Well,
but I've never heard that from a Christian.
Okay, I do get tomatoes thrown at me when I share my opinion, but
Okay.
no, the facts are the facts. And almost every single holiday Christians are supposed to celebrate that are biblical feasts, we don't.
Uh-huh.
And then all the pagan holidays, which are about sex and immorality and child sacrifice, we stole from the pagans, we stole their identity and culture, and we whitewashed it and called it Jesus fests. Every holiday we serve, we do it in Jesus' name, and it's got pagan origins that's covered in blood.
Huh.
Oh, Tim.
Well, that's very refreshing.
Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, I have Spanish and Portuguese heritage too.
Oh, is that a fact?
Yeah. I found out
That's
in
good.
23andMe.
Whoa, great resource, 23andMe. Lots of good work by geneticists there.
Gangster, did it tell you
kind of technology that lets us know that chimpanzees are our genetic cousins?
I was just about to ask Gangster. We'll get to the genetic cousins thing because they leave out so much information to get to that conclusion. But Gangster, did 23andMe tell you that you were part Neanderthal? Because I heard like everybody who goes through 23andMe is part Neanderthal.
Not everybody, but a lot of people have Neanderthal DNA in them, yeah.
Can I give you guys, now this is not biblical. I'm not telling you that this came from the Bible. This is Stephen's opinion from biblical research and historical research. I think that there is some credence to the Neanderthal man, and I think they are part human. I actually think they are descendants of the Nephilim. And I think that could explain why there is some mixture of them in our modern DNAs.
This is an interesting admission. I don't know
look,
that I had
again.
heard this,
look, this is not word for word in my Bible. I'm not teaching heresy.
No, clearly, but I don't know that I've ever
opinion.
heard someone say this like you have before. This is a new position.
when Christians say like Neanderthal just doesn't exist, we look ignorant because we have found some Neanderthal fossils. I don't think it at all proves evolution. I think it proves that there was a race of Neanderthals. Now we need to figure out what they were. And we do know they share genetic traits with us. So I think the best explanation is that they are descendants of the Nephilim.
Well, Neanderthals are not the only precursor species of genus Homo that we've found.
I don't think that's provable because they're missing
we have
too
the
many
bones,
of the inner links. Well, you have pieces of the corpses, and then you find like 5 or 6 bones to the species, and then you draw out the rest of it on a piece of paper, and you say, we found it.
I think, there's only Lucy was a pretty complete skeleton, dude. And that's much earlier than anything I was about to say.
It had so many forged parts, though. Now, there was one, and I don't remember what it was called, Homo picus maybe, but there was one found after Lucy that was more complete. Like, Lucy is actually a bad example for you guys because they had forgeries. Like, I think they used a human foot bone or a human knee bone completely. No, I mean, they added bones from other species to the Lucy specimen. Like, they've proven that part.
Which bone?
Gangster? Go ahead, Gangster.
Oh, Kim, what if I'm related to you?
We might. Hey, man, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Not crazy? I also have 59% British and Irish. So I can be related to Steve.
There you go.
That's true. That's true.
Is that weird?
Turkey britches. We got some game players tonight.
Kim, are you also talking about Homo erectus and Homo head?
I was going to mention Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo naledi. I was going to mention a couple of them. I've been watching a lot of Guts at Gibbon recently. It's starting to, the process of osmosis. I'm starting to learn about these things.
And I forgot about
my issue is we always have such a deficit of transitional fossils. Like, we have these huge jumps from what we have found to where we're at today. And we're just told to trust that there's more transitional fossils. And we're told eventually we might find them. Wink, wink.
It's, fossilization is an imperfect process. Sort of by definition, we're not going to have every single specimen available, right?
And see, to tell me that
these specimens are going to get fossilized.
But to tell me that a T-Rex eventually morphed into my KFC chicken bucket, you have to show me the transitional fossils. Well, you know what I mean?
The great thing is that nobody says that.
But you're telling me that we come from an ape humanoid, and that is our ancestor.
This is the fundamental communication problem here. And nobody's saying that we came from monkeys, right?
You're saying that it's our ancestor.
We share a common ancestor with things like chimpanzees, yeah.
Okay, and that ancestor would have looked a lot like an ape, right?
From an earlier hominid.
I know, but all you're doing is kicking the can down the road, because for us to have a common ancestor, eventually we still have to start off as something very much like a monkey. You're just kicking the problem down the road.
We are apes.
We're not, though.
We don't outgrow our, that's monophyly. We don't outgrow our heritage, right? In the same way that we are still tetrapods and we are still eukaryotes.
We are so unique in the universe that we're nowhere.
Oh, certainly. That doesn't mean that we can suddenly sever ourselves off of the tree of life.
No, but that means we should see something alive today that's closer than the chimpanzee. There should be a relative of us alive walking with us with more human features, with more sentience than what we observe. It's just us.
Why?
It's us and then the animal kingdom.
Why would you expect that?
Because of transition. You say that we have transitional fossils. That means you have to slowly accumulate these human things. Otherwise, you just got it in one generation. One day, some monkey-looking thing had a baby that was fully human. You can't have that. You have to slowly evolve these traits.
I might even have this graphic available on my desktop here. Hold on.
Oh boy, we're running to the charts they put in the textbooks. This makes it true.
So hold on. Let me let me see if I can open this first. Here we go. Here's a great graphic made by Gutsit Gibbon, who is a fantastic expert in the field. Let me see if I can. There we go. There is your transition. If you wanna throw that up there.
Sure. All right.
Yeah. So here we have a nice long clear series of our ancestors in order.
All right. Do me a favor.
Sure.
While I have this chart up, point to me the transitional fossil where we developed the soul or sentience, the thing that separates us from everything else alive that we observe.
Nothing in the fossilization process would preserve the thing that you are describing for study.
Absolutely not. That's not going to work tonight because we see that by we have.
First of all, I don't know that
Tim, but hear me out. Hear me out. Well, we do know that, right? The thing that makes you have to admit that there's something different about us than everything else alive.
I would agree that we have
you can vote, you can rape, you can be remorseful about raping.
Well,
you can save people from injustice, right? We have community drives. We vote. Like we are so different.
We have very complex social
we put a man in space. Okay, we're different. Show me at which point.
Saying that we're not different.
Right. Okay, so thank you. Show me which transitional fossil we developed that differentness.
I don't know that I could do that. Nothing.
And that's
nothing
the problem. You guys can't because
you are asking.
None of those things are anywhere close to what we have today.
Well, hold on. Because consciousness and sapience, the thing that you are describing, right? The social part of human behavior, that's all in the brain, man. That's all in the gray. And fossilization doesn't preserve that.
Okay. So
I have no way of delivering the thing that you're asking for. Even if I could, I have no way to do it.
All right. So let me just for the viewers, because you guys always skirt around this, and I want the viewers to be perfectly clear. So let's play a quick game with the chart that you have up here. Out of everything on here, which one of the skulls, and you can identify them by the letter, I won't embarrass you, which skull has put a man on the moon? Is O the only one? That's weird. Yeah. Okay, out of all the skulls on the board, how many have instituted dentist schools?
Only Homo sapiens.
No way. That is so great. Okay, out of all the ones we see on here, how many of them celebrate group family holidays like Christmas and decorate for it?
It could have been as early as I'm trying to look at the chart. It could have been as early as I think K. I think there is some an expert may be able to fact check me on this, but I don't think that Homo sapiens are the first species in this line to celebrate sort of regular occasions.
How would you know that? No scientist alive today was alive for
paleontological evidence to show this. Again, this is for an expert in
Does
paleontology.
it, or does that prove that one of the O's owned an N, an M, an L, or a K?
Whoa, what do you mean owned?
Yeah, I mean they owned like property. You know, mankind has always been sadistic that way. At one time, O's have owned other owns.
Most of these did not exist. I'm almost sure that Homo erectus did not exist.
See, I disagree. I think everything we see on this chart was around at the same time.
At the same time. No, absolutely not. These bones
if there's validity to them at all and they weren't faked, then they absolutely were all alive at the same time. They would have.
I mean, it says it right there in the chart. I mean, no,
I don't care what your chart says. Look, I don't go by the jibber jabber on the side. That's pseudoscience. They can't prove. Well, yeah, because they never met an N, an M, an L, and a K, a J, an I, an H, and G. But they want me to believe that they have celebrated holidays. Come on, man.
We know we have the bones, and we know how old the bones are. So we know that the bones are not always contemporaries of each other, right? Homo erectus probably was not on Earth at the same time as Homo sapiens.
All right. Again, you may. Well, let me ask you a question again.
These are not contemporaries.
No. All right. So out of all the ones we see on the screen here, how many of them could have been on music singing competitions? Oh, right.
I
Pretty much.
at this
Oh,
point, I
Dude, my
wonder
point
what
is
the-
nothing.
how is the material to the
Everything you're
question?
showing up here is an animal except for O. O is the only thing that's put a man on the moon. It's the only thing that goes to college. It's the only thing that has a marriage. It's the only thing that builds a family in the way that humans do, in the way we pass down inheritances, in the way we help the communities, in the way the North came to help the slaves in the South. Like, we're the only thing on Earth that does that. Nothing on this chart has ever exhibited those human features, but you say we came from that. Nonsense.
It came from that is I don't know that that's, we evolved from them. Yes.
I know that's the wording that helps you sleep at night so that you don't have to identify to a
No,
monkey.
it's just, using precise language is important, man. This is a complicated topic.
Okay, so let me ask you, you believe that O's have always been here then?
No.
So you believe we came from N?
I think that N's are archaic Homo sapiens. They are the same,
man.
No, look at the chart, man.
Okay, so where did O come from? What was O? What did we evolve from?
O, A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
The next in line is M.
Pseudoscience is so confusing, bro.
Yeah, man, it's a complicated topic. I'm not an expert. I'm a layman. I'm not a scientist. I can't explain the delicate intricacies, but anybody can look at this chart and say, "Oh, wow, yeah, look at all of these similarities. Look how the structures become more complex over time and more defined over time."
That's the problem, though. You guys always say, "I can't explain it. The scientists can," but the scientists can't explain to me either. They say, "Oh, we're related to these things." Oh, but we're not related to them in the way we are our brother or sister. We're related to them in the way we are to our great-great-grandma. But that still is the same blood. You're still related to your great-great-grandma the same way you're related to your sibling. It's the same family. And you're not looking any different from your grandma.
DNA, man. That's all it is at the end of it. It's genetic comparisons.
So, okay, so you're saying that we got the ability to go to college with O. We got the ability to speak and write the same language.
These are all things that
we got the ability to put man on the moon and O. We got the ability to create modern medicine and distribute medicine with O. Dude, come on. You're not going to tell me that
O is invalidated by our achievements, man. What are you talking about?
My point is that O is so much specialer than everything else in the universe. Everything else is an animal in comparison to us.
If you want to make that distinction, man, you can. I don't know that it's accurate. We are animals. We are apes. We're just really smart.
Animals.
We do lots of really cool things.
We are absolutely not animals. You show me one other animal that votes. Show me one other animal that holds a charity
The existence of complex social structures do not negate our ancestry, man.
No. And some of these things are older than us, like alligators. They should have evolved and been smarter than us.
Not necessarily. Evolution doesn't necessarily have a goal in mind, man. It's just adaptation to your environment.
All right, so
that doesn't make any sense.
I know. So
that doesn't make a lick of sense.
I know it doesn't. So using the chart on here, by the way, hi Dustin. Using the chart on here that you showed me with these beautiful graphics, which one of the letters did we evolve love?
This is immaterial to the question of ancestry.
It's not immaterial.
It
man.
is. Social
thing is we're the only thing in the universe.
Our ancestry. I'm sorry,
Kim. We're the only thing in the universe that has any of these emotions. We're the only one in the universe that has.
I don't know. Well, that's the only ones that we know of.
Steven,
we're the only ones that we know of.
Steven,
which means we're the only ones until you prove otherwise.
Yeah, but that doesn't negate our ancestry. It doesn't.
You can't prove ancestry, so there's nothing to negate if you can't first prove. And you have
so the skulls are there, man. Look at it.
Okay, first of all, this is far from a complete fossil record. This could not be the complete record.
By nature, it is incomplete.
All right, Dustin.
Can you explain to me why this is not an example of a two-coke-way fallacy? While you're taking you're taking the smallest parts of evidence and you're holding it true for the whole shot. You're telling me that because we arrange these skulls in a particular order, right, that for some reason we should conclude that they're all related. Why is that not an example of the two-coke-way fallacy?
You can analyze the bones and show that they are related morphologically, physiologically, genetically.
No, not genetically.
Well, I guess not.
Show me the genetic test.
Yeah, right. No, you're right. You're right. I'll retract that. But morphologically, we can see the similarities. We can see the progression in the fossil record, man.
I mean, I can see the morphology of a rock as it becomes a stone. That doesn't mean
rocks
that
don't have
all
morphology.
rocks are related.
Rocks. We're talking about living things. We're talking about bones here.
Right. We're talking about bones.
Also,
that is correct.
Dustin,
Right.
if I could ask you for a favor, I would like you to explain for the viewers how they only get to the conclusion that we have such similar DNA with the apes when they leave out a good portion of our DNA and, like, I think up to half of the ape DNA in order to say we match so well. Dustin,
modern chimpanzees and us we share like 98% of our genetic code.
No, that's not true.
That's
you don't,
the lie.
Number one,
Dustin,
you're making a claim.
Oh, I can bring up the paper. Hold on.
Yeah, you can bring up the paper. You can bring up. You can bring up the eyewitness.
The people who analyze the DNA of humans and
look, you're
chimpanzees.
You're number one. Okay, what you're looking at is centers, DNA centers, and they're coding where they're at. We do not have the full genome of the human body. I don't know where this
what do you mean
is coming from.
The human genome is completely sequenced, as is the chimpanzee
genome.
No,
it's not. No, it's
yes,
not.
It is.
It's not.
That's like the basis of most of modern medicine is that the human genome has been sequenced.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
What do you mean it hasn't?
It hasn't.
Am I going to have to cite the paper as well?
I mean, you can cite the paper all you want. You can cite it to the moon. It's not true. We have not gene sequenced the full human gene. It's not true.
We have a government office dedicated to it. It's called the Human Genome Project as part of the.
I know. You have a bunch of bull crap that's supported by government funding, right? You can point all your institutional evidence and say blah blah blah. The truth of the matter is, we have not genetically sequenced the whole human genome. It's not true. That's not a real thing, right? What you're looking at is DNA centers, right? And you're taking a comparison between the two, and because you can select the areas where you're picking from.
I've never heard anyone use this term. What does DNA centers mean?
So, your allelic genetic frequency, right?
Uh-huh.
So they center on allelic genetic frequencies. Okay, so in other words, they target specific portions of the genome to compare to a monkey's genome, right? Because they do not have the full sequencing. They don't have it. They compare
you're saying they don't have the full sequencing because they don't have the full sequencing.
That is correct. I don't know how else I could explain it. I mean, it's really. So no, it's the real argument. It's the truth, right? They don't have the sequencing that they claim they do. They don't.
Okay, so they're just lying? You
they're
think
giving no. Look, like every scientific paper, there's an element of sensationalism, right? So like, yeah, maybe there was embellishing. Okay, but when you say 98%, I mean, yeah, I guess you can call it lying.
Okay,
I mean,
well then this
like
is an argument from
scientists.
Conspiracy, and I have no answer for this.
Okay, well then
you're just claiming that there's a conspiracy
you can claim
to fake the human genome. That's ridiculous. How do you think that, like, genetic tests would work if we didn't know how the human genome?
We don't have genetic tests.
Do you not believe in paternity tests? Because that's what it is.
In what?
Paternity
in what now? No, it's not paternity test. Jesus Christ, dude.
What do you think a paternity test is, man? It's an analysis of DNA, of genes.
It takes a look at the top, what is it? It's 32 genomes, right? And then it compares the 48 between the two. Okay,
all right, gentlemen.
Right.
Gentlemen, I'm going to share this 2-minute video. We're going to go ahead and watch
Creation this. Ministries International, so not a scientifically above board institution.
Absolutely, it is.
These people are not scientists.
Well, we're going to explain how you're practicing pseudoscience. So if you'll allow me 2 minutes.
Sure, play it.
Thank you.
And today, a complete map of common human DNA only became available recently. The Human Genome Project was launched in 1998, but the goal of providing data on the complete genome wasn't achieved until May 2021. And sure enough, the latest detailed decoding of chimp and human DNA shows that the supposed 98.5% overlap is way off.
A report was published in 2018 by Richard Buggs, professor of evolutionary genomics at the University of London. He used the new chimp genome data for comparison to the human genome, and his report created significant discussion among geneticists because it stated the percentage of nucleotides in the human genome that had 1-to-1 exact matches in the chimpanzee genome was 84.38%.
It's significant that an independent comparison of chimp to human DNA was done recently by Jeffrey Tompkins. He earned a PhD in genetics from Clemson University in 1996 and worked in the Department of Genetics and Biochemistry at Clemson. Tompkins used a different method than Buggs for comparing the two sets of DNA and reports that he aligned 18,000 random pieces of high-quality chimp DNA that were each on average 30,544 letters long onto the human genome and several different versions of the chimp genome.
He states that the aligned segments of chimp DNA were, on average, only 84.4% identical to human DNA. Basically the same as Buggs.
Interesting. Two different approaches and similar results.
Yes, it can't be a coincidence that Buggs and Tompkins, independently, using different methods of analysis, both identified the degree of overlap to be around 84%.
So the original overlap proclaimed by Dawkins of 98.
Now, I'm not going to make you watch the remainder 16 seconds, but I would say what this proves is a common designing code. It doesn't prove common ancestry. It proves that it's a working code. Oh, I'm sorry, you're muted. I muted everybody for the video. Go ahead.
Fine. Well, I was just going to say that the point that Dustin made earlier is apparently refuted by even Creation Ministries International, who admit that in 2021 we have now the complete human genome, completely mapped out.
I think that's what this video just stated.
Yeah,
and I think this is updated from what.
Would you do me? Would you do me a
video
favor?
was newer than that.
Steven, I just linked you a short in the chat. Will you go ahead and pull that up and play that for me, please?
Okay.
Dustin, do you want to respond to Creation Ministries International statement that
I dropped out, man. I didn't see it. But anyway, there's something
it's at the beginning there if you want to replay it, Steven, just so Dustin understands.
I'll play it later, but this might interest you a little bit more. I have a clip for you.
Okay, right, so Dustin, this video you sent me is 2 hours long.
Oh man, I'm trying to get you. Hold on, let me go to the time mark.
Can you tell me the time? Yeah, tell me the time mark.
I'm going to right now. I'm going right now. Hold on, give me a second. I might drop out.
All right, sorry, Kim, but thank you for bearing with us. And yeah, Gigi.
No, you're fine.
I looked at the thing and I couldn't find where it would say that about the name.
I don't think it was. That's what Dustin's going to do now. He's going to find the time mark. Let's see.
I mean, at the 23andMe, it doesn't say anything about the
Oh no way! It's Mark Reed. Mark,
another thing that I want to just point out: the two individuals that were cited in that video, I can't find a single paper published by either of them. Just a bunch of blogs by Creation.
That doesn't take away from their education or capabilities.
It does take away from their claims if I can't find them and see the data that they're presenting.
I don't
That's
know.
all I'm saying. I'm not calling them not scientists. I'm not calling them stupid. I'm just saying I can't find any papers that have their names on them that are published in any reputable
this was obviously off the cuff. So maybe if we could have a part 2, I can address that and bring back the research. But I'm not going to accept that the research isn't out there because we weren't able to find it in a 5-minute Google search. It would be really weird for an institution like creation.com to make a random claim like that could easily be validated as false in 5 minutes.
I don't think it would be that strange at all, but
go go to time marker. Hold on. 5 and play from there on.
What is it?
135. 1 hour 35 minutes.
Okay, 135. Got you. All right, and play for how long?
Not long, about a minute, maybe 2.
Okay. All right, I'm going to share this. Oh, I hope we get to see Mark get defeated. All right.
Must have been provided by a god. I don't get that.
Yeah, so it's because when we're looking at what humans understand in this world, every time we're dealing with something that is in line with what we
Skip ahead
observe,
a little bit.
organized information that can be manipulated, tapped into,
Well, how
affected.
long are we talking? Like,
Go to 136. It's more relevant.
Because you have no evidence to show that intelligence is necessary. In fact, a lot of the evidence shows that intelligence wasn't used because of the inconsistencies and the problems with cells, the problems with replication.
Because it's information that we have tapped into. So
yeah, it's not
showing,
the same as a book. It's not the same as words.
It's more complex than a book. It's information far beyond our literary abilities. Like it's not even comparable.
What do you mean? We've mapped the human genome.
I can't find the clip. That's not it. That's not the clip.
I was gonna say I'm not sure what the relevance of that was, Dustin.
Yeah,
so
I'm
glad
well,
you're
no, it would they directly note that the human genome is not completely mapped out in this debate. But I can't find the time clip. But yeah, what's his name? Mark Reed here admits completely that the human genome is not completely mapped out. I tried to,
which is weird because Creation Ministries does admit that it is completely mapped out as of 2021.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I can't get a straight answer on this particular question. Like, I've been researching it, and there are some sources that say yes, and there are some sources that say no. And this is the major problem when we're talking about evolution. Like, you tell me that there's a certain list of credible lines of people, right? But the reality is that you're not the only person who's trying to claim credibility. And the fact
I'm not trying to claim any credibility, man. I'm a layman. I'm not a scientist. I can find the papers and show them to you if you'd like. These are people who have done the work, and you can look at their data.
So
the problem is the emitted amount of assumptions in these papers.
Assumptions? What kind of assumptions?
Almost every paper with these theories is full of built-in assumptions.
Like?
Okay, for just an instance, our understanding of the universe, the concept of dark energy and black matter.
What does any of that have to do with genetics?
You just gave me the challenge to show you an example of a
what
theory with built-in
specific
assumptions.
Need to be made in order to look at the human genome?
Well, that's the thing. That's what we're trying to point out about this. They left out so many percentage of our genomes and then so many percentage of the ape genomes to say, oh, it matches 98%. But then when they reevaluated that testing, it dropped it down to roughly 84%. Some testing said 88%, and that still leaves us roughly around the same genome relation to a bug. So that means we're also related to grasshoppers, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's what genetics would show us.
Wow, and that's the issue. That's why I say the DNA genome testing shows common design, not common ancestry.
Why is it a problem that genetics shows us that we are related to bugs to some degree, right? Why is that a problem?
Because you can't show the relation. You can't show.
I mean, we can compare the DNA. We can compare the genome, man. Like, look at all of the similarities. Look at all of the places where the DNA is.
But the issue with that is we share 50% of the same DNA with a banana, but we're obviously not bananas.
No, of course not.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't prove common ancestry. It proves common design, man.
If we
otherwise, you'd be a cannibal when you ate a banana.
That doesn't make us bananas. It makes us related to bananas. That's it.
No, it makes you a food source if you believe that.
What?
Yeah. Do you really believe you're related to a potato, a strawberry, and a banana?
I don't have to believe it, man. I can see it.
Oh no, you
It's
have
right
to
there in the
believe it
genetic
because there's no science to back it up. There's no proof.
Genetics.
It's a religion.
Genetics is the entire field of science that is dedicated to this.
The genetics proves common design, not common ancestry. You can't prove to me the relation between you and a banana. Show me the descent.
Compare the DNA, man.
Show me the transitions. Show me the transitions. Show me the common ancestor with you and the banana. Prove it
the
to me.
transitional species thing, dude. Like, this just isn't how any of modern science.
No. If you're gonna tell me that this is how we ended up here, and it's because of this, you got to show me the evidence. You're gonna show me how we ended up here. I'm not gonna take your word.
I can show you the genetics, man. I can show you here is the commonality. It's in our genetic code.
You can show me a matching code. You can show me a similar design. That's all you can show me. You can't show me how I'm related to the banana. Show me.
You're related genetically.
Show me the transitional fossils. Show me one transitional fossil between me and a banana. Do it. Show me a transitional fossil between a banana and a potato. Is there one?
I'm sorry, man. This just isn't how it works.
I know, but that's how it has to work.
No,
otherwise you guys believe in a fairy tale.
No one with any education in the field would expect it to work this way.
Okay. Well, I mean, it can't work any other way. It's pseudoscience.
I'm sorry, man. Really? This just isn't how it works, and it seems like you're misinformed about it.
No, pull that chart back up. I want to make fun of it a little bit more with all the different.
I've already closed it on my PC. I can send it to you though. I can send you the file if you'd like to have it.
No, thank you. I can't imagine I would ever need that garbage.
Okay, I mean,
and Ryan, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thank you, Stephen. I appreciate that.
Hi, Ryan.
How was your dinner date?
Having dinner with my friend David that was on my show a while back.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. We're just having a little dinner. He just needed to get away from it all for a while, so we just had dinner together at a pizza place.
That makes sense.
Steven.
Yeah.
Gigi. In that 23andMe, I don't know where to look to find how much it says Neanderthal you are or something.
If it's not listed on the rest of your DNA, then you don't have any Neanderthal. All right. Well, I'm going to stop sharing that, Dustin, because I'm not going to search through the whole video. Although I do enjoy watching Mark get debated. And I'm not sure why.
It's okay. Like,
AJ thinks that Mark Reed is the best atheist defender on YouTube. For real?
Who is it? Atheist Junior?
Yeah, he thinks Mark Reed is the best debater on YouTube. For their side.
I mean, that's an interesting opinion, but
he's really good for him. You think he's good for what?
He's a little bombastic, but I mean, it is what it is. No, so you're saying that because the genes of a monkey and the genes of the simian and the Homo sapien are so similar that they're related, then can you explain to me why interspecies transplants take in pigs better than they do with monkeys?
No, I'm not a medical doctor.
Are you sure?
You're not a medical doctor, but you don't expect that you don't accept that as any kind of evidence to the contrary, because like if I'm your cousin and I have a kidney,
interpret that.
Well, then let me explain, because this might be an interesting point of fact for you.
Dustin, to prove your point, also, whenever we need like heart valve replacements, they either go to pigs or cows. Like my grandmother had a cow heart valve. They don't ever use
I don't have to be
or any other monkey oil,
just
because we're not as similar as they pretend.
Did that guy take off?
Oh no! Point up with me before, and I don't think my answer has changed. I don't know what the mechanism is for biological rejection of organ tissue. I don't have an answer for you. I'm not knowledgeable enough on the subject.
Well, but you don't think it's odd at all.
I don't think that you're qualified.
But you don't think
either.
But I don't think you're qualified to read me a Dr. Seuss book. But what difference does that make?
Well, my point would be that any layman can tear holes.
You're probably right. I can't read.
So anybody can do it. Like evolution is easy to disprove if you just use logic. Even Einstein said that the chances of the universe even existing in the beginning is mathematically impossible. Like, that proves that there's a hand holding the whole universe together.
That sounds like Einstein's opinion. That doesn't sound like a mathematical fact. And also, that's, it's an appeal to probability, and I don't think that this is how we should look at these things.
I mean,
Now,
what is the mathematical? Can you wait? Hold on, Stephen. Hold on, Stephen. Hold on a second. Wait.
Right now.
What is a mathematical fact? What is a mathematical fact? Can you explain to me what a mathematical fact is?
I was using these words colloquially. I'm not like trying to dunk on you here. I'm just saying that with a sample size of 1, I don't think we can really make appeals.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Right. I understand that. Okay.
That's all I was trying to say. I think this sounds like Einstein's opinion. This doesn't sound like something that's material to the conversation, and an appeal to probability is inappropriate here because sample size of 1.
Appeal to probability, like, well, I mean, what are you doing when you say that the likelihood of evolution versus God? I mean, the whole thing is an appeal to probability.
I don't do that.
You can't have.
It's not that everybody is less likely.
You're full of crap. You're full of crap.
Hold on, man, because you just put words in my mouth, Dustin. It's not that I think that your proposal is less likely. I just don't think it works. I think it doesn't comport to what we observe in reality. It does not.
Well, then you can explain to me how. Well, then you would be prepared to explain to me how a bunch of bumping particles would account for the color purple or the flavor grape. Can you explain that?
Both of those things are human inventions, man. We came up with those labels.
Right. I know. Yeah. That's called, it's what's known as semiotics, right? Because meaning doesn't mean anything unless there's a semiotic behind it, correct?
I don't know what the word semiotic means. Hold on, I have to Google
this. Well, then you're not educated on this at all then, right? In all honesty, you really are a novice. You're pointing to other people's work. And you're claiming it as your own
understanding of reality. I do not claim to be an expert in anything except what I believe and don't believe and what's in my head. And sometimes I may not even be an expert on that.
Can you explain to me what it is that has you so convinced that you're right? Just make it easy for me. If you're a layman, you should be able to explain it. You're saying, all right, I mean, based on my opinion,
is not what you're describing.
Are you going to listen to the question, or are you just going to grant?
I'm not grandstanding, man. I'm trying to answer your question.
You believe
I'm sorry, you're breaking up, Dustin.
Come back, Dustin. Come back, Dustin. Come back, Buck.
Are you there?
Hello?
Are you there, Dustin? Are you there, Dustin?
Hi, Cam.
Dustin.
Cam.
Dustin.
Yeah.
Did you grow up in witchcraft too? Just like that lady?
No, I was raised Roman Catholic in the Mexican tradition.
Oh, fuck.
I have met some folk practitioners of Hispanic religions, I guess you could call it, native traditions. I've met people who do this and who believe these things. They don't seem unusual or dangerous to me at all. It just seems like a different way of looking at the world.
Oh, wait a second.
Dustin, are you back with us?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know what's going on with my phone.
Dude,
look, man,
I know
just
it.
make
Hold
it
up,
simple.
wait, hold up, Dustin. Your audio is 10,000 times better now than it has been.
Yeah,
because I just played with your microphone settings. That's why you had to leave and come back. Don't click the echo cancellation and don't click the background noise cancellation. That's why your microphone's been sounding crinkly, because you're clear right now.
Copy that. Look, just make it simple for me, man.
Okay.
Right? Like, you're telling me that you have a reason to believe that your position is the correct one. And if you're not using a difference or a comparison, I'd like to know what your definition of empirical means.
I'm confused. What do you mean if I'm not using a difference? What are you talking about?
Because in order to register any sensory data to a point where it can be communicable, you have to have a difference, right? Contrast between foreground and background.
A difference of what? Difference between what?
Contrast, foreground, background.
Yeah, what does that mean? I'm lost as to what any of this means.
What I'm asking you is to paint a very clear picture for why you believe evolution is the right. I mean, I don't know how else I can explain myself. I think I'm being very clear.
It accurately models reality.
It accurately models
what we see.
Hold up, Dustin.
Where?
You can
Where?
Dustin, you can counter as much as you want, but just let Kim finish his sentence and then dive in.
The work that geneticists and evolutionary biologists have done seems to accurately describe what we see in our reality. I don't have. It's not that I think I'm right. It's that I think that the data bears out what we see in reality.
You said seems.
Described. Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in. I don't believe in the idea of absolute truth. And the whole concept you don't know. Then it needs to be falsifiable, right? So there needs to be a way that we can be wrong in order for people to prove each other wrong, right? That's like falsifiability is a bedrock of scientific inquiry.
Great point. Where is the falsifiability in evolution? Show me.
If you find a single fossil in the wrong geological strata, whole thing's kablooey. That's all you need. To show that common descent didn't happen the way that we think it did.
How do you know that it hasn't happened? How do you know that there ain't a farmer out there? How do you know that there wasn't a farmer out there that came across some bones that was in the wrong strata and didn't even care? Just threw them away, threw the evidence away. You don't know, really man. Unfortunate.
You're
over here trying to tell me.
I would hope that the farmer would call somebody and that experts would come over and evaluate.
I mean, what are the odds that would happen? I mean, can you be on? And given the fact that we've been farming for a lot longer than science has been like a real thing, I mean, can you honestly look me in the eye today and tell me that if I was to call up somebody and say, "Oh, I found this fossil in the wrong frickin' layer," that they would even listen to me?
I think you would have paleontologists crawling over themselves to get to it.
I think you're full of it. I really do.
Discovery in all of paleontology.
I think you're full of it, man. I think it's been.
We found a fossil in the wrong geologic strata. We have to completely reconfigure the way that we look at this. Yeah, dude, you would be headline.
You're so full of it, dude.
Internationally in an instant. What are you talking about?
You're full of it. You're full of it. We've been mining for hundreds of years. No, I'm not assuming. You're assuming that you have the right answer. I'm looking for the falsifiability, and you're over here like, "Oh, if you do this thing,
man,
blah blah blah." That's not falsifiability. That's a bunch of bullcrap. That's what that is. What do you mean? How would I verify it? How would I verify what you're saying? How would I verify it? How? What do you mean? What do I mean? Look, let's say I'm a farmer, okay? I'm pulling my plow.
Dustin, you gotta let him answer your question, man.
How would you verify it? Well, man, if you happen to find a bone or a fossil that's in the wrong geologic strata, call somebody, and that's how you would verify it.
Right.
Verify the falsifiability of what are they call developmental evo.
I mean,
the modern sort of, because it's not like we're all Darwin.
Do you notice how the evolutionist will point to genetics and claim that this is the evidence for evolution, and then when you ask for falsifiability, they'll point. Now I got to be able to finish before you cut me off. I mean, but okay.
That's fair.
No,
that's fair.
genetics isn't evidence. Genetics isn't evidence for evolution. It's not. It's not. You can claim that until the cows come home, but if that was the case, then we would have pure, verifiable, so that a common man can understand it, evidence that evolution is real. Like I can open up the Bible, I can read through it, and there's evidence in there that a common man can understand, right? You're pointing to bones and you're saying genes, to evidences that are outside of our immediate access. Now, can you provide me an immediate access falsifiability for evolution? And don't waste my time.
I don't know, man. I'm not a scientist. This is a question that you should ask to a scientist.
Okay, well then what you're telling me is what I'm left to conclude from this conversation is that you're unreasonable. You won't accept unscientific evidence, but you'll claim that it's the scientific evidence that is convinced you. If you don't have a full grasp of the scientific evidence, maybe it would be a better position for you to sit in as agnostic.
Dustin, I have a question for you from the audience. Big Bad Mama wants to know,
okay.
Have you ever studied the molecule clock?
The molecular clock.
Sorry. And Big Bad
Mama. The molecular clock. Yeah, he's gonna point to his little piece. He's gonna point to his little piece of paper that has a bunch of dots that point out supposedly the timelines for which every break in the clade took place. Yeah, I know what he's talking about, and I reject that because you weren't alive back then, and I mean you're literally taking.
Do you believe that scientific evidence can only be collected in situ and in medias res? Because that's not how anybody does.
If you had scientific evidence, you'd be able to prove it in real time. You wouldn't say, "Oh, look,
probably
it's
good," but I'm a layman. I'm not
dude,
even college
a
educated,
scientist.
and I'm a double dropout.
If a scientist could prove it, there wouldn't be all this debate, dude. You're just like you're not a scientist. True, I don't know. Maybe I died this with the wrong person. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out.
I think you might be barking up the wrong tree with some of these questions because I'm not an expert. I understand what has been shown to me and demonstrated.
Well,
to me,
I mean, have you considered any of this?
Yes, of course. I had to. It was part of my deconversion.
You've considered these things. You've considered the idea that
I spend an autistic amount of time, like looking into these arguments and trying to get a balanced, neutral perspective from both sides. And unfortunately, your model just doesn't add up. Like I try to educate. I don't have a model. Educate.
I don't.
Oh well, that's even worse.
I don't have a model. You have a model.
Yeah.
No,
well,
see,
our model
look, quit saddling me.
Reality and makes predictions.
I tell you what.
You don't have a model?
I will do my best to stop placing you in a category if you do the same for me. Presume I'm neutral, like I'll do the same for you.
Sure. Okay.
That's the only way we're going to get anywhere in this conversation.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we'll put the scientific tools down for a minute, and we'll go to logic and reason.
Okay.
Okay? You know allelic frequency, right? As it goes from father to son and mother to daughter, that's going to happen regardless of whether...
Those are scientific tools, man. I thought we were putting those down.
We are. We're putting them down. I'm
now we're talking
establishing scientific facts. Kind of. I mean, we have to touch on these subjects, but they don't have to be the main subject of conversation. I'm laying out some logical consistency and some bricks here so that you and I can build a picture together and we can see if there's collaboration or if there's chaos in the picture, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now come with me on this thought experiment. We're going to go and look at some things here. All right. So we know that evolution, regardless of whether or not it's true, there's still going to be people passing their genes down, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So if I was to say that passing down genes is an effect of common design, you would say that I'm cherry picking the data and coming to a conclusion that best fits my personal proclivities, wouldn't you?
No.
Why not?
Because that wouldn't be my first question. My first question
what would be your first question?
Can you show me the designer?
Can I show you the design? So you would presume, right?
Well, I mean, if
you would presume that I would have the ability to show you, you would presume that I would have the ability to show you the designer, the thing that made me, that I would have power over the thing that made me.
Mr. President,
I don't know about power over. I would just ask you to point me to him.
I don't know that is the true president, Ryan. We've had a couple imposters try to sneak on this evening. I've been leaving him back there because if he is the real Dan, he can surely let him there. That's Dan, guys.
There we go. All right.
I was waiting for my song.
You're saying.
Oh, wait.
So you're saying.
But wait a minute. I'm saying hi. But as a guest, he's got to sing me "All Hail to the King" then, or no, "All Hail to the President" or whatever. Hello, welcome
to the chief. Hail to the chief, Dan. Okay, hail to the chief. So you're telling me. So you're telling me my personal proclivity wouldn't weigh in at all in your assessment of my ability to weigh evidence.
Okay, well, you have given me a claim, right? This is indicative of common design, right? And so the next logical step would be, okay, can you present me the designer?
I mean, that's not presuming that it has something. But that's not presuming that I would have a personal proclivity, because if I had the lack of ability to point to the designer, then you're leaving me with one choice on the table, aren't you? That it's just my personal proclivity. I don't have anything in reality. So
no,
I mean, what are you saying? If it's not my personal,
I would take the position that you have just made an assumption.
And if I could, though,
which is a personal proclivity,
Justin, if I could,
if you want to call it that, yeah.
I want to flip the script though, because religion is.
I'm in the middle of something, Stephen.
Evolution.
Okay, all right, never mind.
Rounds to prove your point.
I'm sorry. What's going on, Stephen?
I don't know where Dustin went.
Did Dustin leave?
Yeah, I think he rage quit,
which is unfortunate because I thought we were having an okay conversation there. But oh well. Dustin, if you're still watching, you're more than welcome to come on my channel anytime you want. We can talk about this.
Hi, Dan.
And I won't be as. I'll try not to be as combative.
Hello, Gigi.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm just working. I've got an appointment tomorrow with an appraiser, so there's still some more stuff on the property I have to do. But anyway, I just heard the topic and curse you, Stephen, for that's a joke, guys. That's a joke. Bringing up this topic because I couldn't stay away from this one. And thank you so much. And that's Kim. I don't know.
Kim.
So that's like a blur Kim.
Now we're gonna get a lesson on design and common design from an award-winning famous designer.
Well, that's why I had to jump on in because I started to jump in, but then I got a phone call. Sorry, I'm really being like a Steven.
I won't be able to hang out too much longer. I've got dinner that's waiting for me in the fridge.
Oh, good. So I'll be real quick.
If you have any burning questions, I'm more than happy to answer them best I can.
Actually, for next time, because I don't, I like I don't like gotcha things and stuff. So
sure.
But the reason I started coming in was the banana one, So showing that, and so as a designer, and I've told other people, I want to design and build a trilobite. We should have all of the body parts we need. We know DNA that makes arms, all the different parts. So, so again, though, so even something easier like the banana and us, because, we're actually living. And so living specimens are better. So when you're seeing that, so I want to build something, and you're seeing that the human and I've heard that before. I don't know if that was your argument, but the banana's DNA and ours are like 50% equal. Sure. The banana plant.
Right.
And so that's kind of useless to actually build anything, because if we share that much in common, then that 50% we share with the banana is useless in making a body part. Because there's no body parts.
I mean, I don't know about useless. It would indicate that at some level, most of what makes living things able to live isn't really all that diverse. It would say that we have sort of shared fundamental like components, I guess you could say. And this is again a layman's explanation of it. It would suggest that whatever makes a banana, and whatever makes us, right, is in the remainder of that 50%. You know, that's all that I think it would say. And to your point about building something, I mean, we have you know, manipulated the banana as a plant over its history. I mean, modern like Chiquita bananas look nothing like they did when we first started cultivating them.
Man, if you want to be depressed, grow a banana now. And especially if you're somewhere in the north, it's not going to do anything for you. Anyway,
well, yeah, you don't want to grow things outside of their recommended range.
No, even with the hot houses, they just don't do the right thing.
Yeah, you need a bunch of other factors that you can't really get outside of the things. What would be the
natural habitat?
Natural habitat is what I was.
Kim, can I ask a silly question?
Shoot.
If we started planting palm trees in Alaska and found a way to try to make them grow seasonally, do you think they would start developing fur?
I think that they would adapt in other ways.
Interesting.
Likely. Okay. I feel like if you manage to get a kind of palm, oh man, that's a great question.
Well, I guess, and that's a loaded question. So I guess
it is a bit of a loaded
more question. Like
this is speculation.
How soon before a noticeable change that we could say it's moving in this direction? An honest eye. You know what I mean?
Moving in this direction, meaning what?
Evolving towards a mechanism to protect it from the cold climate.
That's
quote unquote fur.
Question for well, not fur. We wouldn't see fur. We would just see it.
That's why I said quote unquote. The equivalent to whatever.
Well, some plants have a furry thing on them, but we probably wouldn't because the well, one day they might. What keeps something from freezing is their cells are able to are elastic, so they can go with the freezing. They can swell, and then they can when it warms up.
Yeah, plants have cell walls that play a key role in that.
Some do, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, some of them do. Yeah, I would say this is entirely speculation based on a layman's understanding of genetics and genetic development. That we would probably the first thing we would probably see is a change in how they take in sunlight. Maybe we would see an adaptation for the particular kind of climate or the sunlight that this area in Alaska gets during the year. That might be the first indication.
Well, the first would actually be the cellular structure that it could take the cold.
Right, but Stephen meant like something that we could see sort of directly from an outside perspective without breaking out the microscope or something. Which, yeah, I guess the first thing we would see is a change in cellular behavior, cellular structure, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a geneticist or an evolutionary biologist. Do you have any other questions for me, Dan, Stephen?
No. Anyway, look up that because, we have, billions of base pairs in the DNA. And so you... To be able to reconstruct something, which we one day probably will.
Well, that day's far off into the future, man. Genetic engineering is
exactly, but I mean,
scientists haven't been able to put together like cells from scratch. It's not
right.
It's not it's a little more difficult than a lot of people think it is.
Totally. Well, not creationists. We know how hard it would be, but you look at the again, you try to go from the body parts and the monkey, or I'm sorry, the chimpanzee, the little apes. See, in the 70s, that was part of the growth chart. So you brought up gibbons, and I actually thank you because that's what I was asking last time because I want to look at that. Of the time,
I wasn't talking about gibbons. I was talking about Gutsick Gibbon, a YouTuber.
Right. No. That yeah. Sorry, I was proud. I just remembered that part of her YouTube name. And so you look at that, though, and so there's no overlaps. But that's what I'll look on. And we actually asked.
There's no overlap in what sense?
In that, so none of those survived. chimpanzees survived. Other things survived.
Yeah,
but
well, the
sheer
chimpanzees
survival-
came way later. They're not, again, most of the things in that chart are not contemporary to each other.
Right.
The obvious exception of, I think, Neanderthals, I think, were contemporary to humans to some degree.
Well, yeah.
I think there were a couple of, man, I had a presentation on this in my debate with a certain Canadian. If you give me 2 seconds. Google Slides.
You debated Aiden?
No, not Aiden. I said a certain Canadian.
He's the only Canadian I know. Oh no, I know.
Oh well, consider yourself lucky that you don't know this.
And
Canadian.
my cousin. So.
Hold on, I had a chart here. Yeah, so Homo sapiens were contemporary to Homo neanderthalensis and Homo erectus, and I think that's as far back as it goes. And by the time that humans moved out of Africa, these 2 other species went extinct.
Right.
And we're talking about 200,000 years ago. So this is.
Stephen.
Yeah, so it's just like, we have the alligators, we have the dragonflies, we have a multitude of creatures that, are still living today.
Yeah.
And to think that, no other closer greater ape is around. Again, another.
Well, I mean, we would expect that the member of the family there that is most adapted to their environment would succeed, right? So alligators are the most adapted species for their environment, and humans are the most adapted species for our environment. And dragonflies are the most adapted species for their environment.
Oh, now I so clarify. And good, this is fun. Next time I'll have time.
Sure.
I hope I have time when you're around. Is that so you had the population of Neanderthal or whatever. And now some are saying that we might even be descendants of the Neanderthal, or at least have where we have the DNA shared. That they were
I
very
think it's just intermingling, not necessarily descent from, but I would have to
exactly
that
we were breedable, which doesn't make them a separate species then, I would think.
Speciation is a bit more complicated than just interbreeding. Things like hybridization is like a thing that we observe.
Well, I thought
different species.
No,
I mean, it's a good rule of thumb. If it can't interbreed, then it's probably a different species, right? But it's not a hard and fast rule. There are other criteria that would be in play here. I'm not an evolutionary biologist. These are questions directed at an expert.
Oh well, I am. No, I'm not. I'm joking. So we're on the same plane, but I'm gonna have to get going.
Same.
Steven?
I have to go get my dinner heated up. But thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to check me on my channel, Tear Your Hair Out, I'd love to have you guys on anytime.
Tear your hair up.
Tear your hair out, spelled like the animal.
Can you put that in the private chat there?
Yeah. I'll drop you a link real quick. Hold on.
Or the public one's fine.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just shamelessly plug my channel here. Hold on, guys. It is in the public
chat. We all have in common.
And then in the private chat. There you guys go. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Gangster, I will see you later. Gentlemen, have a good night.
Bye.
Have a good evening, Kim.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Steve, I have a question. Are you guys still going to have that show tomorrow about Noah's Ark versus the Epic of Gilgamesh?
I'll be with you in just a moment, Gigi. I can hear you, but just vaguely. You guys hold it down.
Guys, I think I'm going to go to my dinner. Did not exactly agree with my constitution.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah. Hopefully I'll be okay in the morning.
Hope you're all right, buddy.
All right. You all have a blessed night.
Oh, where did you eat? Come on, you always do advertisements for stuff you like.
I put it on. I eat a place called Johnny's New York Style Pizza. I put it on Facebook. You can look at it, Dan.
You're always giving us recommendations. So if you're constipated, Go to Johnny's who?
It's the opposite. I've eaten there before, but I had I had pasta with Alfredo sauce. I think that might have been what did it.
Oh, that's un-American. That's un-Italian. So, yes. No, I was saying if somebody has constipation, they should go eat that stuff.
No, I have the opposite of constipation. I promise.
Exactly. If you have constipation, I recommend eating the Alfredo.
Yeah. I agree.
A cure for constipation. Eat at your favorite restaurant.
Good night.
Good night, Ryan. Gangster, what are you doing?
Nothing. Are you guys having that show tomorrow? At the Noah's Ark versus Epic Gilgamesh?
Not joking, it's not me. Just has a similar thing. I'm purple.
I don't know, actually. Sorry, Gigi. I was waiting for Steven. Albert Einstein never said that. Albert Einstein never said that the existence of the universe was mathematically impossible. Another lie from Bowling. Bowling? Hey, let's go bowling. So do you know he never said that? So Idiot Junior, you just made did a quote, hearsay quote from Darwin. So so I would give a little more grace to people that say I hear he said this or that, because a lot of those things are coming from first person witnesses. So that's what we hear, and especially something like a phone call that says that you're going to go plan and do something. That's not a lie if somebody repeats that. And I don't know. I don't understand. That to me seems more like the person would be guilty, because that's a fallacious argument. And nobody knows what I'm talking about. But Steven, where are you?
He's back on the moon.
He's back on the moon.
Oh, Dan, could AJ join?
Could AJ join? I'm leaving, so if Steven comes back, Steven, come back. Okay. Oh. That's why Dan doesn't do the singing. Oh. Gigi, you can sing the song, though.
Steven, come back. We're gonna miss you. Steven, come back.
Oh, you do it so much more.
Yes, it's what's it called? Scheduled for tomorrow.
I don't know. So, yeah, I've been kind of working a lot. So another from AJ, the most incomprehensible thing about the world is that it is comprehensible. Not at all if it was designed and created and has laws to it. The thing that is, to me, incomprehensible is that it is so ordered. It is not chaos. We can look at the design. And something, I don't know if you guys, Gigi, maybe you can say, did they talk about the epigenetics? And is there study of the epigenetics that actually is the above the genetics that controls? That's why you have skin instead of ghostly flesh tentacles. My tech guy is adding in for us. And so you have just the right amount of skin. When you get cut, you're not gonna heal with a huge bump unless it's really a bad scar scraping, because the genetics are controlled. Yet another layer of complexity above the already complex DNA. And so who else we got here? Let me send. Oh, it's like somebody's sending a link. I can't do that link. I'll have to go on the private chat. Now I know I've heard of our guest before because I've heard of that station. Ooh, there it is. You can sing more in between. So, Big Bad Mama's on his phone. Not seeing any other comments to post. Gigi, we better put you on the payroll, Gigi, because what would this show be if you weren't here?
Oh, sorry about that.
Oh, that's good. Oh, it's sorry because we don't have any money.
Oh, that's all right. Are you guys? What happened to Keelings?
I don't know. I spoke to him. He was on yesterday, so I spoke to him. Grasshoppers are cool. They very well are, unless
what if it turns out you are a grasshopper?
I can't jump though. I'd be a very malformed. I would have a bad mutation going on that gave me a deformity that made it so I couldn't jump. Yeah, because those legs are on like springs to be able to jump. And actually, if you look at the detail of their legs, humans have copied it in some of their building.
Oh.
Then it's almost dark.
Okay, I gotta get going, Steven. I'm gonna have to shut it down then.